Global TV send another one. Oh, 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 oh. Global TV, I send them home. Yeah, man, this is Michael Buckley. I tell you, say, yo, the Global TV, yeah, man, me represent that 100%. Play the music, Global. Boom shot.
Good evening and welcome to an early broadcast this evening of The People's Point of View. Welcome to Keeping Up with the Fearless Leader. This evening we hope to go a bit further into the twisted, dangerous, knife-wielding mindset of Wilfred Rattigan. To my community of party and all family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good evening and welcome. Beat and teach, good evening. Gorman was a scratch me, itch me rather, the proper grammar. Sharon Bernard, good evening. Debbie Jarvis TV, Lidit Foster, EM, Ronald Dixon, Deb, Keith Salmon, Patricia Matthews. Good evening, all, and welcome. Like and share the live, please. The OJLDF people on their website. On screen, this is the Global TV website. I can update it as often as I want. I can change the information on it as often as I want. You may ask yourself, though, why Wilfred Rattigan continues to peddle the wrong information on his website, soliciting donations based on those information. but fail to correct those information. You see where it says here, I'm an independent journalist, an alternative to censored and fake news. That's who we are at Global TV. These are the services that we sell at Global TV. The link to Global TV is in the top of your chat if you want to view our page and give us any feedback. At the bottom, you will find our vlog or our blogs, stories, Mr. Rattigan. So it doesn't really take time to provide the correct information to the people if that is what you so desire to do. But if you plan to mislead them, then you will have no interest in providing the correct information. Tonight, we're going to look at Rattigan lawsuit against Kamina Johnson-Smith and against Nestor Morgan. But you remember this morning I spoke about some excerpt from his lawsuit with his colleagues, his FBI masters. That's the fact of the case. That's going on. But the juicy story that I read this morning is this page on screen. That formed the basis of Rattigan's lawsuit against Nestor Morgan. But let's roll back. We're going to talk about the global Jamaican diaspora.
Chatting with you would make my day.
Me not talk to you, me talk to the people them. You chat too much. Sorry, it's these phones that, you know, them jump into your business when you talk and you not talk to them. So I have to make him know I'm not talking to you. Not talking to you. Now, let's talk about the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council that was run unregistered by the government attached to Kamina Johnson Ministry. Bear that in mind. Attached to Kamina Johnson Ministry. The case Rattigan took against Kamina Johnson. All right, let's go back to the takeover of the global diaspora. One of Rattigan's major gripes with the Global Diaspora Council that the government, the Jamaican government, shouldn't be in charge of handling diaspora affairs. And correct me if I'm wrong here, fearless leader. Was it not Michelle Bowen, your New York attorney, advised you, I think it was on one of your shows, that the government cannot register the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. So you should register and take it over. Bear in mind, it's in Kamina Johnson's remit. Rattigan did that hostile takeover and registered the organization. It was done by Lincoln Lewis, which is president down in Florida. You heard on Rattigan's assassination last week, Saturday gone, that when he was trying to throw the gentleman under the bus, that they has taken over the Global Diaspora Council from the government and they have not done anything with it. Bear that in mind because we're going to roll back a bit. Remember after the hostile takeover, hold on. given that he blamed them that they've taken it away from the government and has not done anything with it, you also ought to remember that last week, Wednesday, was when Rattigan came out and told you all in a 6-minute video that he has resigned from the Global Diaspora Council, Call to Action, and the Task Prevention, Crime and Intervention Task Force, whatever the name is. So Rattigan would have handed over the Global Diaspora Council to the gentleman last week. But Rattigan came to you on Wednesday of last week. Then Saturday, he came to you and said to you, they have taken over the Global Diaspora Council from the government and they don't know what to do with it. Let's roll back to June. Was it not the same Wilfred Rattigan on his Reason with Rattigan channel, who under the heading of the Global Diaspora Council, running concurrent but longer with the conference in Jamaica on his channel for a week? Was it not that Wilfred Rattigan who was using the Global Diaspora organization to run his conference for a week? But he said the gentleman took it over and don't know what to do with it after he had it and he was using it. But throw it to them last week. He's coming to tell you that they took it over from the government and don't know what to do with it. Do you, the audience or the listener, find any dichotomy in that? In hindsight, it turns out Rattigan just have a bitter, twisted gripe for Kamina Johnson-Simmons, taking over the organization that was based in her ministry, coincide his online conference at the same time when the conference was going on in Jamaica. We're researching the mindset of Rattigan, using the lawsuit to embarrass Kamina Johnson-Simmons. Bear in mind that Rattigan's major tenet is that he's fighting corruption in Jamaica. If you're fighting corruption in Jamaica and you're using donors' money to fight corruption in Jamaica, do you think Kamina Johnson-Smith would have been the most appropriate person to go after fighting corruption? We knew the basis of Rattigan's lawsuit was to do with Kamina Johnson donation and her position for the Secretary General of the Commonwealth. No, because I wasn't paying attention to the whole of this debacle and Rattigan's court case. One would just listen to Rattigan when he comes in public and explain things to you. Rattigan, when he lost that case, made it clear to you all that the court said us in the diaspora does not have any standing. That's not correct. That is not correct. That was not what the court says or allude to. Any one of us in the diaspora who has a civil legal issue in Jamaica that affects us can challenge that legal issue in Jamaica. You have standing because you're affected by it. The issue here with Rattigan and the lawsuit against Kamina Johnson-Simmons, I don't know what these people learned at law school, but it is baffling sometimes. Now, when you take a judicial review, Rattigan case against Kamina Simmons was taking action for a judicial review against her decision. Now, a judicial review in law is you're asking the judge to review the decision of a public body or a government department, mainly decision made by government or public body. Having standing, you must be affected by the decision made by that government department or public body. So that lawsuit, that judicial review would have been nullified by the fact that Rattigan have no standing to bring a judicial review claim regarding the decision of Kamina Johnson Smith, because Wilfred Rattigan was not affected by the decision. Therefore, the judicial review in the first place was the wrong claim to bring. That was why the court said he had no standing to bring the claim. He was not affected by the decision. So he lied to you when he told you that us in the diaspora have no standing. That was not it. He had no standing based on the application he made. But because they're embarrassed when they make these woeful blunder with their well sort of the intelligence in public, then they try to gloss it over and make it look like, oh, they are not recognizing us. It wasn't quite that. It just wasn't quite that. So that's a waste of money appealing that decision. It is a waste of donors' money to appeal that decision. I said Buchanan can say he did not get paid. I said Buchanan, though, cannot say his firm was not paid your donor money to fight this baseless lawsuit. You would have watched the protests today. They started, I watched it, yes, I did. I'm a journalist. That's what journalist does. I'm sorry for you, Mike. I am a journalist. That's what journalist does. Yes, I watched it. Water more than flour, quail, flop. I wonder how Ratty felt today. But then again, you can't get into the mind of a narcissist, can you? Wouldn't be the right thing to do. The lawsuit against Nestor Morgan is also a waste of money. Now, his basis of taking the lawsuit against Nestor Morgan, I'm not going to go into the major details of all of this, but the basis on him taking the lawsuit against Morgan was something Morgan says, which came from this excerpt on screen. In the conversation between the whole brouhaha of that interview that was going on, Nestor Morgan said to Rattigan, said to the house, to Dr. Francis, Dr. Francis, Rattigan have never served Jamaica, but you have. In fact, you have never been dishonorably discharged from anything. nor have you ever taken JDF to court over accusation. Hold on. Taking JDF to court over accusation that you were in Saudi Arabia seeking a Muslim wife. You've never been involved in such controversy. So when a controversial individual who seemed to have malicious intent use your credibility to push what I believe is political agenda, it's hurt and disappoint me. Those are my comments. That's the basis that majorly forms Rattigan lawsuit against Nestor Morgan. This is also a waste of money. Based on how he said it, it wasn't a defamation. He was speaking to an information from a court case. He wasn't just making up a lie. So it's a waste of money on this Nestor Morgan defamation. But that's how your money is going, and nobody should ask question about it. No documentation, no organizational accounting. And then you are being told you will have to wait a year in lieu when I file taxes to get a return. I want to ask you some questions, Mr. Rattigan. Do you enjoy playing the game of nurses and doctors? And in your lavish parties in Saudi Arabia, Mr. Rattigan, did any of your nurses wear trumpet or scrubs? Do you, Mr. Rattigan, have a fetish for nurses? Do you, Mr. Rattigan, have a fetish for nurses? Have you, Mr. Rattigan, ever involved in pimping or prostitution? One of the issues documented against you, Mr. Rattigan, as a legal attaché to Riyadh, you took gifts, Mr. Rattigan, from the Saudi Arabia Secret Services. Now, if anyone doesn't understand what vetting and security clearance means, if you're applying for a job in the civil service or you're applying for a job in the security services, you go through extra checks that look at a broad scope of things. Your family political history, your family political background, your financial status. Have you ever been in problem with money? Or you struggling with debts? Is this someone who can easily be manipulated or corrupt or bought out? Or there's deep analysis into you in that reason to make sure this is not someone that can be bribed to compromise our mission. Taking gifts, Mr. Rattigan. Lord Jesus. Taking gifts. An intelligence officer, an FBI officer, on a mission after 9/11, taking gifts from another security service. Is there any truth to the argument, Mr. Rattigan, that you were a loose cannon in the FBI? You could never be trusted when you were in the FBI, Mr. Rattigan? Is there any truth to that? Is there any truth to the argument, Mr. Rattigan, that there was celebratory mood of the department when it came time for you to leave? And if those are true, Mr. Rattigan, do you have the credibility to lead diaspora affairs? Are you, Mr. Rattigan, trustworthy enough to be credible and transparent, Mr. Rattigan, with diaspora donations and diaspora affairs? Once one has placed themselves in leadership, they certainly are not above questioning, certainly not above the questioning of global television. Can you, Mr. Rattigan, prove that you are not on a mission to scam the people? Are you able to prove that?
Supporters, ambassadors call it and say, listen, we want to support the thing. The branch manager told me that they have a unit called Know Your Customers.
Body language and I.
KYC. And they're the ones running the show when it comes to the non-profit organization. And they're very careful about it being an international banking entity, because they said that, I don't know if it's true, I just have to take his word for it. He said that just before COVID, during COVID, they discovered that a lot of the, I shouldn't say a lot, but they discovered that some of the non-profit organizations, they're used to launder money. And some of them are used to commit fraud. And that's why they have to be exact when they do these things. They have to make sure that, you know, that they do a due diligence on the organization and also on the people involved. So long story short, he said that I gave him the information today. I signed off again, and he said he's going to send it back into the component, the Know Your Customer component, and if they need more information, he'll let me know. But suffice it to say that he said it'll take about 7 to 10 days before, if everything goes well. He said it will take about 7 to 10 days before the account will become active. He's also said there's a possibility they might come back and ask for more information. But I'm prepared to give them whatever they want, because I mean this is no fly-by-night organization, and it's not an organization that will have anything to do with fraud or money laundering.
If your organization has nothing to do with fraud or money laundering, why is there no bookkeeping of your organization, Mr. Rattigan? Why is there no bookkeeping, no accounting, no financial statement of an organization, Mr. Rattigan, that's an year old? At least 3 financial statements you should have been able to produce if you were running a structured organization, if you have the ability and the competence, Mr. Rattigan. Who is advising you? It is the 3rd time I'm asking the question. Why I am asking that question this evening again. Today's protest, Mr. Rattigan, long tongue leader, Kitchitelli, Walkie-talkie, so, mix up leader, baga, long skirt leader, lap your long skirt. You're still chatting, Mr. Rattigan. You're still showing shades, Mr. Hey, Prezi. Hey, good evening to Prezi on the altar. Sam Allen, hey, take your comment to the Lord in prayer, Sam Allen. I'm not going to even black you, Sam. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Remember, Mr. Rattigan, I said to you when you went to Canada, yourself, your brother-in-law, and the Prezi slept in a king-size bed. May I ask you, Prezi, as a man who was on the altar, one doesn't know, Prezi, why you're not on the altar anymore. But it was on the midst of, listen here, me nah black you. Have shame and move from my doorway. Have so shame, Sam Allen. I move from my doorway. Move from you and stop stretch out your hand with the begging. Oh, you beg, so if I could have get a piece of hot fire coal for putting on your hand, Sam Allen, me nah push you. Have little shame and move. Have time for you have shame. Show me so you have shame, Sam Allen. Anyway, present. It was on the middle of the altar that your wife, present, stepped out of the marriage. Do you, Prezi, want me to say why, or do you want Rattigan to tell you what he told us, how and why? Hmm? I wonder what happened, why you're not on the altar anymore, Prezi. And I also wonder, I'm also wondering why your wife walked out on you as a man of God on the altar. Do you think you have anything to explain, Prezi? Hmm. Kevin Rattigan tell you and tell Jeffrey say it. Oh no, don't make me start drop them around here. You know? Tell Ox Ratty what he told Jeffrey about your boiling brewing business, Kevin. And who Jeffrey Tavares said that back to. Anyone on the talk to Ratty, be aware. Be very aware. You might never know when global TV might start puking and puking because Ratty talk on a business. Global TV hear it back. Listen here, me never turn up on nobody guard gate. If Ratty want talk, Ratty talk. If Ratty talk, you can't blame me for where Ratty talk. And everything me I go talk back. But Ratty knows what Ratty says. Hey. Whoa, Jesus. Mr. Rattigan, you're not getting a grip of your fearless leader self. I mean, you went to the protest today, a very flopped one, Mr. Rattigan, to represent the people. But you still got your true word. How did you get here, Mr. Rattigan? Tell us. How did you get here into this little blue skirt, rainbow skirt attitude, Mr. Rattigan? Hmm? How did you get into this rainbow skirt mentality? It is getting worse, Mr. Rattigan. It's getting out of control. What the public rather expected today, Mr. Rattigan, is the people's business. They thought you and Prezi so not done with it. But are not able to answer questions, but are able to come to a word and to a phrase. I wonder if Prezi know though, Rattigan, that you are the only person cannot account for that brown envelope you collected at New York. You're still, Mr. Rattigan, yet to account for it. You're still, Mr. Rattigan, yet to account for a donors list for any cash donations you have collected. You're still, Mr. Rattigan, yet to provide a receipt to a donor as per the IRS law, Mr. Rattigan. You have integrity. Do you think you have integrity to lead diaspora affairs? One that is so thin-skinned that is unable to answer questions even to their donors. One that is unable to provide any documentary evidence of accountability to their donors. Would you like to step aside from diaspora affairs, Wilford Rattigan, as you have proven and shown you have no credibility, as you have proven in those lawsuits, as you have proven in your FBI track record? You do not follow procedures. You are law unto yourself, Mr. Rattigan. You're a loose cannon. You're a traitor and a backstabber. Wilford Rattigan must step away from global diaspora affairs. Monica Richards, where I do over here? Why don't you love me hard, son? Wanna henka for crumbs, Monica? Hmm? Why are you hankering for crumbs? You know, since we eat and make sure nothing no drop a dot, Monica. Huh? How dumb are you, Monica? Have you read any of the judgment I've put out on my Facebook page? Have you been following any of the debacle? Do you think Mr. Rattigan is a fearless leader? Or he's a weak and nimby-eyed, petulant, pusillanimous leader? Get a grip of yourself, Mr. Rattigan. The fearless leader and your attitude does not batch well together. They're two worlds apart, Mr. Rattigan. Two worlds apart. Tell me, say I mix up, me I do. Tell me, say I mix up. Because someone cannot read, you know. Because someone can't read. And worst of all, someone can't think. So that's why Wilford Rattigan can take on one draw no yaso, draw no deso. Rattigan is a land to himself, Joseph Hewitt. It's not hard for anybody with two good reading sentence read and understand US law. This is a practicing lawyer. This is the irritation of Rattigan, which some of these manipulated followers are failing to understand. This is a lawyer. This is an FBI agent of 30-odd years. And he's still failing on simple administrative issue in public and want to take on diaspora affairs with his lavish lawsuits, because that's all Rattigan. Why Rattigan don't take on a donation and help do something for Jamaicans, rather than take on the money with these lavish lawsuits, which him don't have no legal grounds or legal standing. They're frivolous lawsuits. Or they're lawsuits without standing. Rattigan is just lawsuit crazy. You never win your case against the FBI, Rattigan. What you did, you bogged them down and tied them up with defamation, discrimination lawsuit. Rattigan even had done that. I mean, all of us in employment knows, Mr. Rattigan. If your employer goes after you, you goes back after the employer for discrimination. Come on, Mr. Rattigan. It's the standard way of battling with your employers when it gets to the point of dismissal or discipline, Mr. Rattigan. All of us knows that. All of us use that. You had a box today at the protest, Mr. Rattigan, collecting donations. You said in this, let you finish. You said you will not be collecting donation, but today we saw you at your new launch protest because make it look like it's a second New York protest. No, it's your first New York protest. This is not a call to action. The first New York protest, Mr. Rattigan, was a call to action. This was not a call to action. So it's your first protest. You were seen collecting cash donations in a box today, Mr. Rattigan. Do you have a donors list for those cash you've collected today?
One of the things he made sure to tell me was, he made sure to tell me that do not collect cash. He said that's a big red signal. Do not collect cash. Have people donate their funds through whatever means where those funds can be tracked and traced back to people, as opposed to somebody saying that they're going to give you cash, because he said that's a huge problem for them, because sometimes some of these people, they collect cash, they don't deposit the cash, or for whatever reason, the people who gave them cash claim that they gave them more than what they deposited, and then you have all kinds of issues. So I can't afford to be involved in something like that. So I'll make it absolutely clear. We will accept no cash. So you'll just have to send the money in through electronic means or a check. But that was it, PayPal or the other one, I don't remember. But definitely not cash. So again,
you said that, Rattigan, last year, September, but today you collected cash. What changed, Mr. Rattigan? What changed? You're still, Mr. Rattigan, planning the same brouhaha you were so twisted about in your fetishness and your twistedness about Kamina Johnson-Smith and your voyage to embarrass Kamina Johnson-Smith, because it was purely about embarrassment, as it turns out. Because if you're going after corruption, Mr. Rattigan, why Kamina Johnson-Smith and not the Prime Minister and his illicit people? Why didn't you sue the government to tell you who the illicit people are? Why going after Kamina Johnson-Smith? That is just how Mr. Rattigan wastes the public's money without any accountability. Any accountability. If you don't want to be scrutinized, Mr. Rattigan, monetize your Facebook page, register the AdSense under your foundation. That's a perfect funding stream. No one wouldn't have to question the funding of your organization or how the money is being used. But as long as you're soliciting donation from the public, then anyone, Mr. Rattigan, can question you. Anyone can question you if that is the case. So fund it yourself or be prepared to answer question. Thank you. Thank you, Abeda. So, God go with your Rattigan, but don't bother think say social media Zara Burton. Eyes and ears and minds. Because you see, Rattigan, the difference between you and I look, Rattigan, through the eyes of my mind. Not those two that you're wearing glasses with. I listen, Rattigan, with the ears of my mind. I've surpassed your physicality, Mr. Rattigan. Oh no, make me do my show earlier tonight. I feel like drinking a Magnum tonight. I don't want to drink it too late. I never want to drink it before the show. So yes, may I go drink a Magnum, you know. Yes. Thank you all very much for being on the Global Television channel tonight. Global Television would like to wish you all a happy and productive weekend. If there's a need for Global Television to jump out Saturday or Sunday, we certainly will. But if not, we will enjoy our weekend tour, and we will join you back on Monday morning for your At a Glance program. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. If you cannot, make sure you accept what your situation is. Sometimes resisting your situation breeds depression. Thank you very much, and good night from Global Television.